Hi, I'm Professor Justin Vipperman, and welcome back to summer semester for history this semester. We're excited to have you here. I'm excited to be able to have this opportunity to teach you this summer. Summer is always an interesting time, I think, because at least at the college, it's 8 weeks. Generally, there's not a lot of people on campus. In this case, we're doing this online, and so there's not a whole lot of interaction that you will get between you and I, which is quite unfortunate, I believe. However, due to extenuating circumstances, this is probably the best way that we could be doing this right now. And so, in my mind, really, this is a great opportunity for us to be able to do this class. You get your credits out of it, and we knock it out in 8 weeks. So, and the first thing I should probably explain that the summer semester is over 8 weeks, and so this is a little quicker course than normal. We will have an exam, which is every other week, and that's because we're covering so much material that there'll be an exam every other week. However, because there's an exam every other week, I'm more lenient in the summer than I generally would be because it's so quick. And so we're trying to make sure that we're getting things taken care of. Okay. There are some other issues. I want to go over that, but I also want to make this introductory video, also a video about the syllabus and answer hopefully any general questions that you might have. I want to get started though by explaining that I am Justin Vipperman. I grew up in Wendell, Idaho. I graduated high school there before going off and getting a graduate degree in Portland. I was gone for about 14 years before moving back 4 years ago, and I've been teaching here since then, since 2016. So I'm excited. I love history. Always been really good at history, something that I've always been fascinated with. But I've got a couple of different things that I like to bring up in this first introductory video to kind of ease your fears, because I know there's a lot of people who have had not so great history teachers in the past, or maybe history professors in the past. Over the course of my education, I've learned that we need to do away with the memorization and dates, places, and names. That's not really what we're going for. What we're trying to do in history is connect these difficult topics, these themes that are interconnected yet also unique. And so we need to figure out a way to do that. And so that's what we're going to be spending time on. I'm not going to be looking for you to regurgitate when certain events happened. Although I think that those things are important, what's more important is that you know how to find those things. We all have access to Google. We can Google any of the dates that we might need. What I want you to know is how to think critically. And a way to do that is by asking the questions, right? Doing the reading and then asking those questions and trying to find different perspectives. I'll get to that probably near the end of this video. I try to keep all of these videos under 10 minutes. I think that's the important piece. There's usually one a week that covers some topics that I want you all to understand and want you to know about as you go into the reading. With that being said, let's talk about the syllabus and the reading for this semester. The syllabus is uploaded underneath the introduction module of our Canvas course. You're able to find that pretty easily. It's going to break down, what exactly we're looking for, what the course description is, some of the outcomes and assessments that we're looking for through this course. Ultimately, what I want you to understand is that history is a complex and nuanced study, and it's something that we need to be better about understanding as we move through looking at all topics, looking at all themes. Is trying to find the complexity in those things. Too often we like to look at them as black and white. And what I tell all of my students, whether they're online or in person, is that historians need to live in the gray. That is what we do, is we live in the gray. You've got to be comfortable with the gray, steer into the gray, whatever it is, we've got to live in the gray. That's where we've got to be. Because there are so many sources and so many things out there that we need to figure out what those are and what the complexity is, and really muddle through what the actual history is. So a lot of you may have had history teachers in the past that have gone down this path of things being black and white. History is never black and white. Life isn't black and white. It is gray, and we need to figure out where that is and kind of walk that line. It's difficult for most people. If you're a history major, as you continue on, you're going to have to become comfortable with the gray. Those who are not history majors, you're going to become comfortable in the gray this semester. With that being said, we have three basic ways to get grades in this class. There are 4 exams throughout the 8 weeks. So every other week we're having an exam. They're made up of 4 essay questions. Those 4 essay questions need to be answered in 3 to 4 paragraphs, basically providing the context, answering the question, and providing the significance. You need to be asking yourself, why does this matter? And then explaining that. I'd like some analysis, your own personal analysis in that last paragraph, kind of explaining why do I care about this? How am I going to move this forward? How am I going to institute what I just learned into my everyday life? And I think that that's an important piece for you to understand why these topics are important. And we'll talk about those along the way. This semester, I'm doing an inclusive access for our textbook. Inclusive access means that it is on our Canvas course. And so there wasn't a book technically to go out and buy. As you are part of the course, it comes up as part of your course payment. And so after June 15th, it'll show up, and then you'll pay for that access online. But because of that, we also have this inquisitive assignment that we get to do. Now, because this is the first semester that I've ever done this, I've made them worth 5 points. I've taken them. I like to look at them as more of a review. It's something that as you work through, it's going to help you as you do the reading. But I think that it's important to understand that it isn't the end all be all. I don't want people getting on and being really worried about it, which is why I've made it worth 5 points. Okay. Make sure that you're trying to do most of them. You're at least looking through, and it's going to help you review those things. But the inquisitive assignments should be pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. Pretty easy as you work through those. The last thing that we have are discussion posts, which are weekly. You'll have these discussion posts that you'll talk with your classmates about. Those things are probably the best way for me to gauge what you're learning throughout the class. And so those things are, you've got to post whatever it asks you to do, and then on top of that, you need to respond to at least one of your classmates. As you do that, you're going to be able to understand where these different perspectives are. I would ask that you do it in a good way. Please do not argue on these discussion boards. Try to find common ground. Try to find ways that you can come together. That's really what we're trying to figure out, and understand that history is in the gray, and so a lot of people see it differently. Okay. With that being said, with the inclusive access and some of these things, I know there's a lot of reading, and history, trust me, if you're a history major, it's just going to continue to get worse as you go deeper and deeper into this. A lot of reading, and so with this inclusive access, I think there's a lot of extra things that you can participate in. I'm not suggesting that you don't do the reading. Obviously, the gold standard would be that you're reading every page and understanding all of that. If you don't have time to do the reading, then move on to the next best thing and look through the reading, try to pick out points that you find interesting, and then use those things in discussion questions or in exams, okay? Lastly, because this is an exclusive access piece, it also has videos embedded in the text. So you could essentially watch those videos instead of doing the reading, and you'd gain at least a basic understanding of what we're trying to get at. So I'm only telling you this because I think it's a good opportunity for you, instead of coming to me midway through the semester and saying, you know what, I'm going to drop the course, just understanding that there are other options. Okay, and so I hope that we figure that out. The syllabus is posted online. Every week there is an assignment due Wednesday and an assignment due Friday, and then on every other week there's a test that is due by 11:59 Sunday evening. It is open book, open note. I'm really looking for your analysis to explain to me what it is that you understand about the question that we're talking about. Lastly, history is such an amorphous topic. I have to hear from my mother, who's a 4th grade teacher in Utah, that history is always changing. And I want to explain that to you briefly, that history is not always changing. What it is that we're coming up with new sources all the time. As we do more research, we're starting to get marginalized voices that we hadn't seen before. And so that changes some of the things that we looked at prior. As we start to do that, we need to understand that that provides the complexity. And so as we look at history, we can see that, yes, there is the dominant storyline that we have followed throughout time, but then there are these smaller storylines that start to creep up, and we need to take those into account as well. And that's what we're going to do. So in my mind, as we study history this semester, I hope that you can see the complexity, that you can see that as these things come together, that it gives you a better picture. That looking at it from strictly the victor's point of view isn't always the right way to do it, but that the victor's view also provides some piece of history as well, and that we can only see that through those events as we start to look at all of the voices that come out. I'm excited about this semester. I hope that you are as well. Give me a couple weeks as we work through some of these things and understand that this inclusive access thing is new to me as well. And so if you've got questions, reach out and we'll try to get them answered. I hope you have a great semester, and I hope you watch all of these videos because they'll help you throughout the semester. I'll catch you later. Bye.